Today I'll be using robot parts to delete the bumper end caps on this FJ Cruiser. Now what I have here is a sheet of 1 foot by 2 foot, 1/8 inch thick I believe it is, ABS plastic that's marketed as being for construction of competition robots. So one side's glossy and the other side is textured, somewhat similar to the bumper. However, it is a more aggressive texture than the bumper, so it won't blend in perfectly, but I think it will be good enough. Now, it's actually a company that makes diamond plate covers for these. I think they run about $100 each, and that's a decent option, but personally, I don't care for the look of diamond plate, especially since there's nothing else on here that is diamond plate. For me, I think this plastic is going to be a better fit to the factory bumper for the looks of it than the diamond plate pieces will be. Now we can see there's a little bit of a recess where the end cap sits in. I'm not sure if I want to sit this inside of that recess or cover the whole thing. I think the diamond plate versions cover the whole thing, although I'm not 100% sure on that. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but there's actually a piece of rubber weather stripping around the outside of the end cap. And I picked some of that up to attempt to use with this, although I'm not sure yet if I'll be able to make it work. So anyway, let's get to work. We're going to pull off this cap, and then we're going to make a template, cut it out, and we'll see how it looks. So I've got the end cap removed now. That was pretty simple. I didn't have to take any bolts out of the bumper, which is great. There's just a nice little hole in the bumper in the bottom. Reach up through with a screwdriver. I just used this screwdriver right here. Pushed out all these plastic tabs that are in here. Just got them reinstalled now so I don't lose them. So there's 6 total that go around the edge. And if we look at them, let's see here. You can see this little tab right here needs to be pushed in that way for the clip to slide down and out. So I did that for all 6 of these. And then if we look at the ends here, you can see that there's a little bit of a clip right here on this little mount that's permanently attached to the end cap. That just needs to be pushed in a little, along with 2 more on this end that need to be pushed in when this is removed, and it pops right out. So not too bad. So I'm just going to use this X-Acto knife that's kind of a chisel shape to take off these nubs that are sticking out on this part of the bumper. I'm going to leave these ones for now because I think that will help feed the plastic sheet into this hole, since I'm going to tie it into these front 3 holes here. Any utility knife blade would work just as well, but it's got a nice handle on it, so this is what I'm going to use. Okay, so that takes care of these ones. Like I said, I'm going to leave these ones for now, and hopefully they'll work out fine. So from here, I made a cardboard template, and what I did for that was just took the bumper wing, laid it down on a piece of cardboard, and drew a very rough outline, oversized from this. And then I brought it out to the bumper, kind of laid it in place, and kept trimming down whatever needed to be trimmed down to make this fit how I wanted it to fit. And you can see that I have this little tab on the front that I want to tie into the factory hole in the bumper here. And there's 2 more spots here and here that I would like to tie into as well, but I didn't think of that until after I cut it, so the final product will be a little bit different than this. I could make another cardboard template, but I don't think it's going to be worth the time at this point. Now we'll just trace it onto this black piece of ABS plastic. Cut it out, and we'll see how it fits. This is the 2 foot by 3 foot sheet, and I have enough room to make 3 of these, so I can screw up once and still be okay. Alright, I've got the plastic all cut out now. Like you just saw, I used a utility knife to score all around the plastic. Didn't have to go all the way through. Once I got about halfway through, I was able to kind of snap it, and it just broke a nice clean line. Probably a bandsaw would have been ideal for this, but utility knife works just fine as well. So with the plastic being a little bit thicker than the cardboard template, there were a few more little trimming things I needed to do, and I decided against putting the tabs on the top and the bottom here, like I had said earlier, just because this doesn't seem to be sitting completely on the same plane all the way through. So the bottom actually sticks out a little further than the top, and that just kind of lines up a little weird, having both of those there. So I'm just going to stick with the one tab in the front, and that should be plenty to keep it in place against oncoming wind. And I think I'm going to use some double-sided tape to hold this on. I was going back and forth between double-sided tape and some black stainless steel screws. I bought the black stainless steel screws just because, you know, that's going to be a permanent good connection there, but kind of leaning towards the tape now just for the clean look. So that's what I'm going to go with for now, and if it looks like the tape's starting to loosen up or I have any issues, then I'll put the screws in, but we're just going to go forward with the tape. So anyway, obviously using a utility knife to cut this, some of the edges were a little wavy, so I just used a sanding block with some sandpaper and sanded down the edges to make them nice and smooth, so I don't have any lumps in them. And then I took the utility knife and just back dragged along the plastic to pull any burrs that were left from cutting or sanding off of there. And the next thing I'm going to do here is kind of optional. So if we put this in place, you can see it fits fairly well. Now, if I really took my time, I could have molded it even better than this to the bumper, but I knew I was going to be doing this next thing. If we look at the stock FJ fender flare, we can see this little piece of rubber right here. And the Toyota Tacomas have the same thing, but I believe the one from the Tacomas is a little bit longer, so I ordered a piece of that rubber off of the Tacoma, and we can see it right here. It's kind of a slanted T shape, so it's got the top surface of the rubber, or we'll say this is the top. Let's try that again. So if we say this is the face of the rubber, has a T coming off that's angled like that, and then right in here is a piece of double-sided tape. So that'll stick on there, and that will, I think, make the edges look even better, and should also help to keep wind from getting in behind here and popping this out. So like I said, I'm pretty happy with the fit now, so I'm going to go ahead and put this rubber trim piece on here, and then I'll go get the double-sided tape. I'm just using some 3M car molding tape. Before I put the whole $9 roll of weather stripping on here, I just took a few little scraps, spaced them around the edges to make sure that it looks like there'll be enough room to stick this whole thing on without trimming any more of this panel off, because once the double-sided tape backing comes off of there and the adhesive's on, I don't want to have to be pulling it back off again. It's going to take a little rubbing alcohol. I'm going to clean up the back side of the plate that we made to get all the fingerprint grease off of it. And I'll do the same thing for here, so that both the tape can stick to here and to the bumper, and also the molding around the outside needs to stick to this as well. For tape, I'm just using this 3M molding tape. Just got it at the local Napa. I'm just going to run a strip along each edge. I was thinking maybe do vertical strips so no water gets trapped in here. So if I do a horizontal strip like this, I guess there could be the potential for any water that seeps in to sit on top of the tape, but I don't think it'll really be much of an issue. It's not like it will really hold the water. It will just kind of bead off. So ultimately, I think I'm just going to go around the outer edges and leave gaps for water to get through. Back edge, I think, is really going to be the most important, because we've got the clip in the front to hold the contour, but in the back there's nothing really there. Just make sure everything's pressed down nice and firmly, and we'll peel the backing off. And since we already cleaned up the back of this plate, we can just stick it right on. Alright, so here is the final product. All in all, I wouldn't say it came out too bad. It could have come out a little better. You can see up in the corner up in there and down there, it's not real tight. Same with up in here, but this is where that other cut out for the original bumper end went in there. So if you stand up, you really don't see it, but only from this angle you can tell. Covered up this one well, and I'm not real thrilled about how this one came out. I might end up just cutting that tab right off and running the weather stripping right over it. And I think the double-sided tape would be plenty enough to hold this on without that tab. But we'll see. Well, I may or may not get around to that. But if I were to do it again, I would not put this tab on here. I would just use the tape only to hold it on. But I'm really liking the look of the FJ without the end caps on there. And that's all we have time for today. As usual, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe.